Hey everyone, welcome to the Four and Fork. I'm Alexandria and I'm cooking one meal from every country in the world. Today we're focusing on Colombia and I am making arepas stuffed with cheese. They are so good, ooey gooey, delicious street food, and they're really easy to make. So keep watching and I'm gonna walk you through the steps of how to make these at your own home. So to make your arepas, you're gonna need 2 cups of masa arepa. It's a type of corn flour that is specifically for making arepas. There's also other types of corn flour. There's cornmeal, masa harina. Those are all options and you can use them, but if you have the ability to find masa arepa, I ordered mine off of Amazon, that is by far the best ingredient for the base of your arepas. Now I'm gonna use my hand and make a little well in the middle. And I have 2 cups plus 2 tablespoons of water. Little by little, maybe in 4 rounds or so, I'm gonna add this water into my masa arepa, and I'm going to use my hands to mix it together. Then once I've mixed it all together, I'm gonna add more water into this flour mixture until it forms a dough. The first time I ever had arepas, I was living in Manhattan for a summer internship. And for somebody that has grown up in the Midwest, Manhattan is like food heaven. There's food everywhere and everything you want to try is available. And so when I walked out of my apartment one day, there was a cultural food festival happening on the avenue outside of my apartment. And they had a food truck that was selling arepas. And I had no idea what they were, but they were dripping cheese and so they looked delicious. And so I went over and had one, and I have been daydreaming about arepas since. And so I was really excited when I got to Colombia and I was finally able to cook them for the blog. So I'm really excited to show you guys this recipe. So by this time I've added about 2 cups of water, and you kind of have to do it by texture. Sometimes I need 2 cups of water plus 2 tablespoons. Right now my dough feels like a pretty good texture, so I'm not gonna add my last 2 tablespoons of water because I don't want it to get too watery. So if you look at the dough, you'll be able to pull it out and you can kind of form it like wet sand without it breaking apart. That's how you know it's ready. So now you're gonna put a dish towel over this and leave it to rest for 5 minutes. This recipe makes 8 arepas. So we're gonna take the dough that's been resting and form it into 8 balls. So press it together into 8 individual servings. Okay, once you have 8 servings that are about the same size, you're gonna take each of your individual balls and you're gonna kind of press them down so that they're about maybe a ½ an inch thick. There's gonna be little breaks in the outside rim right here. So just use your fingers to kind of push those together and form them into a nice round disc with no breaks or tears on the outer edge. And then use your fingers to push together the edges so that there's no cracks. Once you've made 4 beautifully round arepas, you're gonna have to cook them. So I have a cast iron skillet heating up over here with about 2 tablespoons of oil in it, just enough to coat the bottom, but you don't want it to be deep frying. So I'm gonna put each of my arepas in this pan and cook them for about 6 minutes or so on this side until a very light crust has formed. And then we're gonna flip them and cook them on the other side. Okay, once you've cooked your arepas for 6 minutes on one side, you're gonna flip them over and cook them for about 8 minutes on the other side. And you'll know that they're done once they have kind of a crunchy crust on the outside. So you're gonna take them out of the oil and wait until they're cool enough to handle. So you're gonna have to cut your arepa in half, so be pretty careful and use your serrated knife to cut all the way around so that you kind of turn it into maybe like a sandwich bun a little bit. So now I have these little strips of mozzarella cheese. This is a good, nice, melty cheese, so this is the kind of cheese that I like to use. So now that I've cut my arepas in half, I'm gonna layer some mozzarella cheese in the middle. I normally do about 3 pieces on each. I use about a ½ pound or so of mozzarella cheese on this recipe when I make it. All right. So I've layered them on the bottom. I'm gonna put the top of the arepas back on, kind of like a sandwich. And then I'm gonna put them back in the oil on my cast iron skillet and put the lid on so that the cheese can get melty. Maybe just for another couple of minutes, maybe three or so minutes, and then we'll look at them and the cheese should be all melty and gooey and they should be ready to eat. All right, so now that I've melted all of the cheese inside the arepas, it's time to try them. Oh my gosh, you guys, I am obsessed with arepas. I love the cheesy filling inside of them. These are delicious. It's only 3 ingredients to make it home, and I promise that you're gonna love them. Go through this recipe and make them at home. If you want the full written instructions, it's on www.forandfork.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.